And indeed, some of the students who have excelled already in engineering will be celebrated on Wednesday. We will also have a women session, and that session will focus on understanding what elements of environmental, social, and governance aspects impact the way we work to design and deliver projects. And as engineers, it's critical that whatever we do take care of soft issues. So the women's session will be emphasizing on those aspects. The technical papers which have been peer-reviewed will get a chance to be published to a much wider audience. We have some of the colleagues who are not with us, so they will also have a chance to view these technical papers. And I must say that as a local organizing committee, we've been working hard with the chairperson of the technical papers to make sure that we are also, we consider diversity and inclusion in terms of these technical papers. And it has not been an easy job, but we managed to ensure that there is diversity and inclusion in terms of technical papers. And we were requested by the chair of the Africa Engineering Week, Engineer Martin Manua, to set the bar higher. It's the intent of FAEO that each and every Africa Engineering Week, the bar is higher than the previous one. And indeed, as the LOC, we think we have achieved that, especially with the various work streams that will be taking place. So we encourage you to make and keep contacts that will grow your regional networks in engineering. With those few words, colleagues, I also want to acknowledge some of our high-level delegates. In terms of South African delegates, we have our Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Paul Mashatile, and then we also have the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure in South Africa, Mr. Sihle Zikalala. And then we also have other high-level delegates. We have the Deputy Governor of Ogun State in Nigeria, Her Excellent Engineer Oyodele Saloka. We also have the head of UNESCO Southern Region Office, Professor Kana. We also have the President-elect of the World Federation of Engineering Organization, Engineer Shehu. We also have the President of Federation of African Organization, FAEO, Engineer Paipas Dedeki. We also have a Deputy Chief Secretary in the Office of the President in Zimbabwe, Engineer Marawa. We also have the Africa Union representative, Sophia Ashipala. We also have a representative from the Association for the Development of Education in Africa, commonly known as ADEO, Mr. Bodo Okoro. We also have the chair of the International Engineering Alliance Governing Group, Professor Elizabeth Taylor. From the Engineering Council of South Africa, we have the President of EXA, Madam Refilwe Buthelezi, and we also have the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Bridget Samula. And colleagues, for tomorrow and Wednesday, we also have other delegates, high-level delegates, and they will be announced accordingly. So I just want to also reiterate that the issue of the national anthem and the AU anthem we must make sure that there is no movement, and we pay attention in terms of those, in terms of the city. So I also want to acknowledge that we also have presidents, registers of the engineering organizations, and I also want to say, ladies and gentlemen, all the protocol are observed. I just want to indicate now that I'm waiting for a signal for the Deputy President. I can confirm that our Minister, Honorable Sihle Zikalala, has arrived. He arrived just after 9. So as soon as I get the signal, we'll continue with our proceedings. Okay, colleagues, in terms of the protocol, when our Deputy President of the country arrives, I'll request you to stand up, and then I'll tell you when to sit down, etc. So, as I've indicated, that we are also fortunate that tomorrow we'll have our minister in the office of the President, Dr. Ramakgopa, and then we'll also on Wednesday have our Deputy Minister for Department of Science and Innovation, Puti Manamela. So as the Engineering Council of South Africa, we are so happy that our ministers, they've taken this Africa Engineering Week seriously. The fact that we're having the Deputy President and other ministers, it shows that they take engineering serious. And we are really pleased for that.
You're so sure I could never endure with my emotions intact. You've such a sense of your confidence in my obsession with you. I'd like to question those assumptions. It's not to say that I will ever be over this obsession with you. Although my pride can make me stronger, I know that it's true. Moments away from these arms, you'll always be moments away from these arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we please rise as we welcome the Deputy President of South Africa?
We will now sing the national anthem, starting with that of Amy.
Sons
now sing the national anthem of South Africa. To the Deputy Minister, the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Paul Mashatile, Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Sihle Zikalala, the Deputy Governor of the Ogun State of Nigeria, Her Excellency Engineer Salako, the Head of the UNESCO Southern African Region, Professor Machiela Kana, the President-elect of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, Engineer Mustafa Shehu, the President of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations, Engineer Papias Kazawadi, the Deputy Secretary in the Office of the President in Zimbabwe, Engineer Amos Morala, the AU representative, Sophia Ashipala, the representative from the Association of Development of Education in Africa, ADIA, Mr. Shem Okere, the chair of the International Engineering Organization Engineering Alliance Governing Group, Professor Elizabeth Taylor, the chairperson of the Steering Committee for the Africa Engineering Week, Engineer Martin Manoa, Vice President of the Engineering Council of South Africa, Mr. Madikane, Engineer T.C. Madikane, and the CEO of the Engineering Council of South Africa, Dr. Bridget Samula. Distinguished guests, fellow engineering professionals, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all to the Africa Engineering Week and Africa Engineering Conference of 2023. I am indeed delighted and honored to welcome you today. And I'm really proud to be standing in front of all of you as we celebrate engineering excellence across the African continent. We as the Engineering Council of South Africa are hosting this event and proud to have been recognized to host this prestigious event. My name is Refilwe Buthelezi, the President of the Engineering Council of South Africa and the President-elect for the Federation of African Engineering Organizations. This year's theme is celebrating and growing engineering excellence in the African region. It's particularly timeless, in my opinion, as we, as the African continent, are undergoing a transitioning period, a period where we urge and we focus on having a rapid transformation and an economic growth for the continent at large. This event has been made possible by UNESCO, the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, and the Federation of African Engineering Organizations within the region. As we open up our doors, the Africa Engineering Week and the African Engineering Conference promises to promote and to celebrate the fraternity of engineering within the African continent, allowing engineering institutions and all our members, our stakeholders, strategic stakeholders, aspiring engineering organizations and practitioners, and our leadership in government to interact, to build capacity, to share best practice, and most of all, to talk about some of the challenges that are facing us, but equally so, the opportunities we have in resolving some of those challenges. It really promises a multifaceted event that aims to increase visibility of engineering within South Africa, but also within the continent at large, and the role that we play in creating a sustainable future. We are here, ladies and gentlemen, to also encourage our scholars to take up engineering, to take up the correct STEM subjects, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in the curriculum, and ensure that as we progress in our African country, there is sustainability in our planning. The Engineering Week is an opportunity really to have a convergence of like-minded individuals from different spheres, ranging from the academia, industry, and boasting a wealth of knowledge and expertise to transform the sector through an orchestrated research effort that prioritizes infrastructure development. Engineering professionals, ladies and gentlemen, yourselves, play a vital role in the African developmental stages. And your role will ensure functioning and a growing economy that is aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Therefore, engineering professionalism is required for growing the economy of this country. We need to play a role in ensuring that we professionalize all our professional engineers, all our professional artisans, all our professional technologies, professionalizing the sector. This continent is home to the world's most gifted and talented engineers, such as yourself. I would, at this point, like you to give yourselves a round of applause for even attending. During this week, we will celebrate excellence of engineers within the continent and those in diaspora. I think it is important to understand we have our engineers who are serving out there in the world, and it's because of the quality of education received in this continent. We will showcase the contributions to the society. The constitution of this country does not exist without yourselves and the skills and the services you provide to enabling the society of this country, the society of the continent, of the people who live in it. But also, we will also be shining the spotlight on those projects that are there to inspire the next generation of engineers. They need to see it to believe it, and it is our role to play that. We are calling for more collaborations in growing the engineering pipeline, and this, we believe, can be done by focusing more on basic education. STEM education is essential in Africa's future and development, as it produces students with the skill and knowledge they need to solve some of the complex problems that we are facing on a day-to-day basis. The Engineering Council of South Africa is the engineering regulator in this country, and it is critical for us as the Engineering Council to strengthen collaboration, to strengthen partnership with other professional regulators and other bodies, but more so with our leadership, so that we can strategically position the engineering professionals to participate and be part of decision-making and decision-making structures. So, Deputy President, we have a lot of engineers in this room who have put their hands up to say they would like to be at the table. They would like to contribute to the decisions that you and the minister are making. And they are professionals. We are waiting for others to follow suit and register. This year, the Africa Engineering Week comes back to South Africa 9 years after having evolved as the world of engineering has also changed. And for us as the continent and for us as the country, we are faced with areas of technology we need to look into, areas of mobility, areas of access, areas of innovation, and most of all, sustainability. And sustainability includes that of climate change, which we all are experiencing in wherever we are coming from. It is here. We need to sit down and we need to talk about how we are going to change some of the way in which we are doing our work as engineers to address some of this. But also the agenda of the African Continent Free Trade Agreement, which is also known as the world's biggest single market, presents an opportunity for engineering professionals such as yourself. Let's talk about how we can collaborate. Let's talk about how we can leverage from one another. In this room today, we have members of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations. We've got presidents of organizations within that federation. We've got countries that vary from Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, Egypt, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Kenya, Rwanda, and many more, which means it is an opportunity for us to start talking about how we are going to leverage from the African free trade in order for us to boost the intra-African trade and investment. And we will create a new demand for engineering services and provide new opportunities for ourselves within the continent as professionals in the industry. For the first time, they will be running a parallel session for young professionals, for young engineers, for inspiring engineers who want to participate in the space. But also we will have a B2B, business-to-business session that will assist entities and those who want to network and create partnership and to fast-track some of the project implementations within the African partnership. The women's session will focus on understanding what elements of the environmental, social, and governance aspect impact the way in which we do our designs, we deliver our projects, and the way in which we work as women in the sector. Therefore, we encourage all young professionals, all young people who are with us today, to explore career aspects within the STEM subjects. As we celebrate and grow the engineering excellence and the engineering sector, the Engineering Council of South Africa is grateful for the support from the entities of FAEO, from South Africa, and the broader engineering fraternity and its stakeholders that have managed to assist us to bring this prestigious event back into South Africa as we continue to find ways to build the Africa we want. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to encourage all participants to enjoy, to participate, to make the most of this opportunity, learn from one another, share experiences and insight, forge new partnerships and collaborations, and have fun along the way. I thank you. I would, at this stage, like to just give a few ideas on the agenda and the speakers that would follow. If I can just get a quick, the agenda. Have you covered the agenda on who is speaking next? Okay, so at this stage I will then stop off and invite our UNESCO representative to come and take us through a few forwards. Thank you.
Thank you, Director of Ceremony. His Excellency, Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Paul Mashatile, Minister of Public Works of Infrastructure, Mr. Shile Zikala, allow me to stand on existing protocol. A very good morning to you all. For me, it is a great pleasure to join you at this 9th UNESCO African Engineering Week here in Pretoria, in the country where it all started, 9 years ago. At the very outset, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the government of South Africa as a host, the Engineering Council of South Africa, as well as our partners, namely the Federation of African Engineering Organizations, the World Federation of Engineering Organization, for coming together and working with UNESCO to make this 9th UNESCO African Engineering Week a success. I would also like to appreciate all the sponsors and other stakeholders. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, the theme of this year's event is celebrating engineering excellence in the African region, with a great topic to showcase the achievements of engineering in the continent, as we all need, as well as the need for more engineers on the continent. This could not have come at a more opportune time. Since its inception 9 years ago, African Engineering Week has grown, evolved, and taken on a new role, bringing engineers and stakeholders from around Africa and beyond to discuss, collaborate, and work together on solving the challenges of our continent. African Engineering Week has also introduced the Youth STEM Bootcamp on AI, robotics, 3D printing, and other innovative technologies as one of its major side events. Distinguished guests, the world is facing major global challenges. Recent UN report point out that billions of people around the world will be unable to access safe drinking water, sanitation, and hygiene in 2030 unless progress quadruples. Climate change remains one of the major challenges of our time, from shifting weather patterns that threaten food production to rising sea levels that increases risk of flooding. We are confident that member states will take concrete actions following the declarations of the recently concluded climate summit in Nairobi. The already existing energy insecurity has been amplified since the Russian-Ukraine war as a result of the wars in the middle of global energy crisis, defined by rising prices of oil, natural gas, and coal. According to the study conducted by United Nations University World Institute for Development Economics Research, the economic fallout from COVID-19 pandemic could increase global poverty by as much as 500 million people, talking about 8% of the total human population. It is therefore important for us to harness engineering capacities in order to define technological solutions to these global issues. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, the role of engineering today must go beyond building strong, resilient economies to addressing the big questions of our time, talking about climate change, poverty, food, energy, and water security, environmental resources, disease, and fostering sustainable cities. Engineering is indeed vital for crafting new approaches that are inclusive, rights-based, and founded on a solid scientific ground. Let us remind ourselves, the world's biggest economies got where they are today because of their reliance on a skilled workforce and a sustained investment in STEM education. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, despite the critical role played by engineering in addressing the multitude of global, regional, and international challenges, the second UNESCO Engineering Report highlights that there is still a shortage in both the number and then the quality of engineers to address sustainable development goals. Africa, therefore, requires urgently critical mass of professional engineering practitioners to facilitate its economic growth. UNESCO has been supporting several initiatives towards addressing the engineering capacities and skill gaps. For example, during the margins of this week, over 100 youth drawn from secondary schools and 30 teachers will be involved in the 3-day STEM bootcamp centered on robotics, artificial intelligence, coding, solid modeling, and 3D printing technology. I would like to invite you to find time to pay them a visit at the Innovation Hub across the road, from tomorrow morning. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, no one institution or individual country can achieve sustainable development on its own. Collaboration and partnerships and access to reliable data are key. This is where the research institutions and higher education systems come into play, as they are responsible for producing the capacities and skills required to foster sustainable development by building greener, more inclusive societies. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, engineering is vital for crafting new approaches that are inclusive, right-based, and founded on a solid scientific ground. And it is imperative for engineers to work closely with other disciplines to find solutions that are not only technologically proficient, but also easily and widely adopted, while taking into account our environment. Please be assured that UNESCO will continue to work closely with all of you in making science, engineering, and innovation work for the region's sustainable development. I wish you a fruitful week. Thank you.
The Deputy President, Republic of South Africa, Honorable Paul Mashatile, Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Zikalalia, the Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Her Excellency Naimat Oedele Salako, I believe she is on her way. The Deputy Secretary Office of the President of the Republic of South Africa, the head of UNESCO Southern African Region, Professor Kana, the President of the Engineering Council of South Africa, our host, Engineer Refule Buthelezi, FAEO President, Papeas Kazawadi, the Chair of IEA Governing Group, Professor Elizabeth Stella, the Chairman of the Steering Committee of the African Engineering Week, my friend Martin Manua, the President of the East African Federation of Engineering Organizations, as well as the President of other engineering institutions, as well as regulatory bodies here present. Distinguished engineers, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and privilege to stand before you today as President-elect of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations on the momentous occasion of the 9th UNESCO African Engineering Week and the 7th African Engineering Conference. This gathering represents not just a celebration, but a catalyst for the growth of the engineering profession and excellence in the African continent. Let me thank the leadership of the Engineering Council of South Africa for hosting this event and the warm hospitality accorded to us as we arrived in Johannesburg, which I believe will continue after our departure. UNESCO, which at this particular occasion is being represented by the Regional Director, Southern Africa Region, Professor Mashali Zekanana, deserves to be appreciated for being consistent in giving patronage to this event over the years in association with the World Federation of Engineering Organizations. Having witnessed other events in the past, I have to acknowledge the fact that this particular event has really shown progress recorded over the previous occasions. And in this respect, this credit has to be given to the steering committee and the local organizing committee for a job well done. Your Excellencies, distinguished engineers, ladies and gentlemen, it will be appropriate at this point to say a little about the World Federation of Engineering Organizations for the benefit of those who are hearing about it for the first time. In brief, the World Federation of Engineering Organizations is a global body of engineers founded in 1968 by a group of regional engineering bodies under the auspices of UNESCO. It has a secretariat located in the UNESCO headquarters in Paris. Its membership comprises over 100 countries, representing over 30 million engineers. It is recognized at UNESCO as a strategic partner with associate status and co-organizes the UNESCO World Engineering Day for Sustainable Development on 4th March of each year. One may ask, why 4th March? For the benefit of who don't know, 4th March is actually the day the World Federation of Engineering Organization was formed. The WFEO is a member of the United Nations Economic and Social Council and co-leads the UN and Technology Major Group. The role and responsibility of engineers in addressing the challenges facing society is more and more recognized and acknowledged worldwide. Through its activities, WFEO engages with governments, policymakers, and United Nations leadership to present the engineering perspective on issues affecting the global community. It is the sole body representing the engineering profession of all kinds and disciplines globally and serves as an international platform where issues related to engineering are discussed and addressed. WFEO encourages all its national and international members to contribute to national, regional, and global efforts to establish a sustainable, equitable, and peaceful world by providing an international perspective and enabling mechanisms. The WFEO international member from Africa is the Federation of African Engineering Organizations. I'm glad to observe that the Federation is growing over the years by increasing its membership base, reaching out to more international organizations, as well as reaching out to more countries within the African continent. On this road, I want to congratulate the President of FAEO here present, my friend, Engineer Papias Kazawadi. The growth is necessary to equip us in tackling the multitude of problems facing the continent. Africa is a continent rich in history, culture, and untapped potentials. And it is engineering that has the power to unlock these potentials, driving progress and shaping the future of the continent. Today, we come together to acknowledge and celebrate the remarkable achievements of African engineers, whose contributions have played a crucial role in transforming their communities and societies. Under the theme, celebrating and growing engineering excellence in the African region, we recognize that excellence is not a singular achievement, but an ongoing commitment to continuous improvement. It is a journey that requires collaboration, innovation, dedication, and foresight. It is about sharing knowledge, experience, and best practices to create synergy that lifts us all. Investing in engineering education and research is key to fostering a strong foundation of excellence. By equipping the next generation of engineers with knowledge, skills, and a global perspective, we empower them to become the change agents and leaders in their respective fields. Therefore, robust and inclusive educational system is critical to building a sustainable future for Africa. Furthermore, as we celebrate engineering excellence in Africa, we must also acknowledge the need for diversity and inclusivity within our profession. In this regard, I congratulate the Federation of African Engineering Organization by walking the talk in having at its top leadership position people like the immediate past president of the FAEO, Engineer Kalian Boshidit from Ghana, who did very well as president of the Federation. And also by having in sequence our president-elect, Engineer Refuele Buthelezi, who will be taking over the leadership of the Federation at the end of next year. I have the confidence that she will also perform excellently well if she takes over. By embracing diversity in all its forms, we can harness the power of multiple perspectives and experiences, leading to more innovative and equitable solutions. Let us strive to create an environment that encourages and empowers all individuals, regardless of gender, ethnicity, or background, to pursue careers in engineering. The challenges faced by the African continent are diverse and complex, from earthquakes to floods to infrastructure development to addressing climate change and sustainable development. Engineers are at the forefront, designing solutions and driving progress. We must leverage this collective expertise to address the pressing issues of our time. In this regard, and on a side note, it was reported that on Friday, 8 September at 11 p.m., a 6.8 magnitude earthquake hit south of Marrakesh in Morocco. Information from a friend who is an engineer in Morocco revealed that 2,974 deaths, 5,674 people injured, and more than 300,000 people affected, with most of them sleeping outside. The engineering challenges are settlements of the affected homeless people, treatment of the sick and injured, restoration of schools, homes, restoration of public utility supplies like electricity, water, etc. Just 2 days later, on Saturday, 10 September, we heard that the northeastern part of Libya was also struck by Storm Daniel, which resulted in 11,500 deaths, over 10,000 people missing, and over 40,000 people displaced from their homes in Libya. This information was according to United Nations Office for Coordination of Human Affairs. On behalf of the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, I hereby send my sincere condolences and deep sympathy to the engineers, people, and governments of Morocco and Libya on these tragic incidences that have resulted in loss of lives, injuries, and displacement of people from their houses, schools, and workplaces. This 9th African Engineering Week serves as a platform for knowledge sharing, networking, and collaboration. It is a testament of many collective commitments to shaping a better future for Africa. Let us make the most of this opportunity to purge new partnerships, exchange ideas, and renew our passion for engineering, for the development of the continent. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my journey to the position of President-elect of the World Federation of Engineering Organization could not have been possible without the support and cooperation of all of you. I'm therefore ever grateful to all of you for that support. However, for us to continue to grow and develop at global level, this sort of cooperation must continue. It shouldn't stop at having just one person from sub-Saharan Africa, going to the leadership of the World Federation. Subsequently, we should have other Africans also, in such positions. But we can only achieve that if we continuously cooperate with one another and support one another. Furthermore, this trust and confidence the global engineering community bestowed on me to lead the global body should be seen as a collective trust and responsibility on all of us to deliver on the mandate successfully. I therefore need your support and cooperation more than ever before. More importantly, it should send a clear signal to the leadership of our countries I'm glad Your Excellency is here, and the ministers, to the leadership of our country, that we are being trusted at the global level. And if we are trusted at the global level, it means we have the competence and the credibility to be trusted. So what it means is that we should be trusted at home. We should be charged, which means that we should be charged with any level of challenge in leadership, policy formulation, and project delivery. Your Excellency, Deputy President, I'm glad to let you know that our delegates from South Africa are performing excellently at the global arena. And that is why not only them, those from Zimbabwe, from Ghana, from Rwanda, from Nigeria, from Sierra Leone, all of us in Africa are holding a lot of important positions at the World Federation of Engineering Organizations. And they are helping to shape engineering development globally. So in that line, we should be seen to be respected even in our countries, and there should be no responsibility or position that should be seen to be above any engineer from the African region. More importantly, it should be sent a clear signal to the leadership of our countries that African engineers are competent and trustworthy at global level, which implies that they should be trusted at home. We should be charged with any challenge in leadership, policy formulation, and project delivery. On my part, as I take over the mantle of leadership of WFEO next month, I will put on top priority of my agenda the development of Africa, women, and young engineers. This I will put on top of priority of my agenda. However, for me to execute the agenda effectively and for us to record collective success, I need the support of the Federation of African Engineering Organizations and all the engineering institutions. And what I mean by engineering institutions, I mean both the professional engineering institutions and the regulatory body, especially in the following areas. Number one, ensuring that we have more engineering institutions registered with WFEO and FAEO. We have about 53 countries in Africa, but we all know that we have just about 24 or 27 countries that have registered with the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, which means there are many countries up to today that have not registered, and their voices are not heard at the global level. So, Mr. President FAEO, I remember we had this discussion with you during your inauguration early this year. Please, I need that information. I need that to be done. More engineering institutions should be registered, with the World Federation of Engineering Organization and the Federation of African Engineering Organization. I also need reliable data on the number of engineers. I'm glad the professor from UNESCO has mentioned East as one of our challenge. As of today, we really don't have reliable data as to how many engineers do we have. At least at the WFEO level, EXA should have their data, but they should make it available to us. Please, FAEO President, make sure that all the national member institutions, the East African Federation of Engineering Organization President is here. I need this information as President of WFEO because you cannot improve what you cannot measure. At the end of my tenure, I want to say, under my tenure, the membership has increased from so-so number to so-so number, which is representing certain number of engineers. As of today, we don't have any data. The only data I'm seeing or references is maybe some work done on Southern Africa, which is around Alison Lawless, maybe about 10, 15 years ago. That is being referenced every day. Of course, that is, number one, outdated, too small a reference point, just Southern Africa. But we need this data on on how many engineers we have in Africa. UNESCO needs that data. And very importantly also, not only the number of engineers, but how many of them are women. We need that. I need that as president of World Federation of Engineering Organizations. Thirdly, but of course not the last, we need to generate African Engineers Register, which will be endorsed by the African Union Commission. We have an active MOU with African Union Commission, and they need this data also from us. I know a lot of us are struggling to be signatories to the Washington Accord International Engineering Alliance. But first of all, can we even recognize ourselves within Africa? Can I, as a Nigerian, be recognized in South Africa and come and practice? Can I invite my friend from South Africa to come, we work together in Nigeria, or in Cameroon, or in Rwanda, without any restriction? Knowing fully well also that the opportunities are even more in Africa today than in any other place in the world. So recognizing ourselves is, to me, is even more important than having the IEA recognition, because the continent is where the opportunities abound more than any other place. And even if there are such opportunities outside, definitely they will consider their own people first before they consider you, no matter how qualified you are. With these few words, and while looking forward to the communique that would be generated at the end of the conference, I once again pledge my unwavering support to the growth of engineering excellence in the African continent. Together, we can create a future that is built on the foundations of sustainable development, innovation, and inclusivity. Thank you very much as we continue the journey together, and happy Heritage Day. Thank you.
His Excellency Deputy President Mashatile, Honorable Minister of Public Works, Zikalala, distinguished engineers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's my humble day today to stand before you representing the Federation of African Engineering Organization in this beautiful city and beautiful hall, simply to send a message of African engineers for their continent. The Federation of African Engineering Organization is a membership organization comprised of the continental regions that are in 5 categories. Namely, there is one for South Africa, FAEO, North Africa, FAEO, East Africa, FAEO, Central Africa, FAEO, and West Africa, FAEO. All this is in coordination of bringing engineers together to think and work towards the best performance of their continent. Therefore, Your Excellency Deputy President, I make this welcome to the 9th UNESCO Africa Engineering Week and the 7th Conference 2023, a gathering hosted by EXA in collaboration and partnership with UNESCO, World Federation of Engineering Organization, and Federation of Africa Engineering Organization, under the theme, Celebrating Engineering Excellence in the African Region, and in the context of Agenda 2063 and Africa Continental Free Trade Area, we embark on a profound journey. As President Paul Kagame aptly said, the Africa we want is one that is united, prosperous, and at peace with itself. Engineering policies and standards harmonization form the bedrock of this vision. Nelson Mandela once noted, education is the most powerful weapon to change the world. Today, we don't just celebrate engineering excellence. We aim to harness it as a transformative force for Africa. Our theme isn't just words. It's a call to action. It embodies our shared commitment to recognize, celebrate, and elevate exceptional work of African engineers. Our sub-themes provide our roadmap as, number one, innovating for sustainable development. Engineers will shape a sustainable future for Africa through innovation. Number two, building resilient infrastructure. Infrastructure is our backbone. Let's build it resiliently. Number three, fostering education and capacity building. The future rests with our young engineers. Let's empower them. Number four, promoting cross-border collaboration. In the spirit of Africa Continental Free Trade Area, let's work together across borders, transcending boundaries. Number five, advancing engineering ethics. Our work must adhere to the highest ethical standards and always deal with ethical dilemmas properly. As Chinua Achebe said, the world is like a mask dancing. If we want to see it well, you do not stand in one place. We must be dynamic and forward-looking. Let's celebrate our achievements, define a new era of engineering excellence in Africa, and build a united, prosperous, and peaceful continent. Let the 2023 Africa Engineering Week begin with a renewed call to action to walk the talk together for the Africa we want. I thank you very much.
Honorable Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Hon. Paul Mashatile, Honorable Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Honorable Sikalala, our host President of EXA, the President-elect of the WFEO, the President of FAEO, Excellencies, all dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, I'm guided and standing by the existing protocol. First of all, as the chair of this Engineering Week steering committee, I would like to appreciate the tremendous amount of work put in place by our organizing committee. I think it is an applaudable effort that they've put across, and our steering committee is based from the franchise organizers, UNESCO, WFEO, FAEO, and EXA, and other parties. I really thank you for this sterling work. Honorable Deputy President, we are so glad that you have graced this occasion, and we will not miss this opportunity to have 1 or 3 asks that African engineers that we require as your role as government to carry across the capacity building of engineering. Engineering is at the center of life. Without engineering, there is no life, quality of life that as we know it. As we know, all infrastructure is designed by engineers. Engineers improve the quality of life. Most importantly, it must be guarded jealously that these engineers must be professional, ethical, and also qualified to practice. For if an engineer makes a mistake, it's unlike other professions like law. Maybe the client goes to jail, or medicine, one operation, someone dies. A bridge falls down, the number of deaths are catastrophic. Buildings fall down, the number of deaths are catastrophic. So we appeal to you, Honorable Minister, Honorable Deputy President, and all the policymakers here present to ensure that this field is supported by capacity building, it's properly regulated, and only that competent, qualified professionals are allowed to practice engineering. And once that's done, we also ask you for recognition in terms of the work, or what we call engineering work that is done in our African continent, all over the world. We really need to ensure that we appreciate these engineers, that we have spent a lot of resources to train so that they would work in complex projects to build the capacity that we need in Africa. Of course, some economies have developed. It is not advisable to let those economies bring 100% of their engineers to do 100% of the work in our continent, whilst we are spectators. It is important that we transfer the technology, we build the local capacity, and then we operate by trade pacts like the Africa Free Continental Trade Area, where we now have mobility of those engineers fairly across the economies. I'm happy that there are now efforts by the IEA to ensure that more African countries join, and that these efforts should leave no place and no one behind. That's the first one. Secondly, I'm also happy and want to congratulate FAEO for the aggressiveness they have done in the past 2 years to incorporate the Africa Union, other AU organizations like AUDO-NEPAD, ASO, the August Standardization Organization, and also ADIA, to ensure that we hunt as a pack, we work as a team, and we also leverage on the resources that our countries put together. The FAEO, Honorable Deputy President, is your baby. We want you to recognize these engineers and ensure that you give them sufficient work and challenges to develop Africa to achieve the Agenda 2063 that of the Africa we want. As we tailor towards the end of the SDGs, Honorable Deputy President, the Africa Engineering Week has noted that we are hardly there in terms of meeting the targets. And I also think as engineers, we need to be involved in crafting the next strategies, maybe this time called equitable, sustainable development, so that we look not only at the planet, the people, profit, etc., but also in the equity and the equitable transformation of the distribution of these resources. So as your servants, we would like to offer our engineering expertise to be part of that journey. Objectives of this edition, Honorable Deputy President, are that we would like to build the impactful awareness and visibility of engineering so that we work with policy, we work with infrastructure, we work in projects. We have realized most of the times engineers are not on the table. We are the menu. This time around, our ask number 2 is that we want to be on the table. The second objective is to also make sure that governments make skills development a priority and put a huge chunk of the GDP for research and development and capacity building. Again, we would like you to infuse innovation, new technologies like Industrial 4.0, and ensure that we have African homegrown solutions for local problems. And finally, we would like your support in fostering practical partnerships with the ADIA, with the African Union, and many other governments so that we can achieve our projects. Honorable Deputy President, I think this is what we heard from the organizing committee, and once again I want to thank my local team led by the capable TC, Matkane, for an excellent job. Indeed, you have surpassed the notch and target that we set. I thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to invite our Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Minister Sihle Zigalala, to come and take us through a few of his remarks. Minister? Thank you.
Thank you. Program Director, Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, and the Leader of Government Businesses, His Excellency, Mr. Paul Mashatile, the Deputy Governor of Ogun State in Nigeria, Her Excellency Engineer Selako, representative from the African Union, Ms. Sophie Achapelle, heads of UNESCO in Southern Regional Office, Professor Khan, President-elect of the World Federation of Engineering Organization, Engineer Titeketi, Deputy Chief Secretary in the Office of the President in Zimbabwe, Engineer Murawa, the representative from the Association of the Department of Education in Africa, the Chair of the International Engineering Alliance Governing Body, Professor Taylor, the Acting Director General of the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, Ms. Nyeleti Makubele, the CEO or the Chair of the Engineering Council of South Africa, who is our Program Director, as well as the CEO, the CEOs of all other entities in South Africa who are specializing in the built environment, fellow colleagues and compatriots. We have assembled here to galvanize our modest effort to make Africa a tree of love. Thus, I welcome you all on our shores as we open the UNESCO 9th Africa Engineering Week and Africa Engineering Conference taking place under the theme Celebrating and Growing Engineering Excellency in the African Region. To all our international guests and the global engineering community, welcome to your ancestral home where humanity's umbilical cord is buried. Not far away from here, UNESCO has affirmed that we have evidence of the earliest known life form which are preserved and protected at the cradle of humankind World Heritage Site. While science can fascinate and ignite our imagination, it is still the engineering profession that makes history by changing the world. One of the aerospace engineers, Theodor von Kammen, put it clear and succinctly where he said, "Scientists study the world as it is. Engineers create the world that has never been in existence." While your foundation is science, your orientation and passion remain the advancement of human civilization, expansion of goodwill, and improving human conditions. It is your profession that gave us engineering marvels like the Pyramid of Giza in Egypt, the temples in Sudan, the rock-cut churches in Ethiopia, but equally, in our own case, South Africa, we also take immense pride in the ongoing work to construct one of the highest cable stay, Msikaba Bridge in Lusikisiki in Eastern Cape. Just recently, we shortened the distance between Durban and Mozambique through the creation of Maputo-Katembe suspension bridge. We're currently working in shortening the distance between Durban and East London through also scientific interventions that comes from our engineers. As the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure, it is our wish that this engineering week will not only inspire our youth to take careers in various engineering disciplines and professions, but we also hope that South Africa will be able to use this opportunity to harness our developmental imperatives for South Africa's engineering profession. We call on everyone, including the private sector, to join government in investing in the development of our engineering professionals so that the built environment sector can function effectively and optimally. As the leader of the South African Human Resource Council, our Deputy President, His Excellency Deputy President Mashatile, will concur that South Africa faces skills shortages and a lack of resources in the public sector. This does not hamper our ability, but it also poses danger to the critical infrastructure that we have. The South African government is currently funding and supporting several programs that are aimed at addressing infrastructure challenges and build capacity in our professionals. However, the road ahead is still calling. We call on engineering profession to assist our developmental state to respond to some of the pertinent challenges that affect us. These include lack of engineering skills in municipalities, managing the growth of high-density development and modeling the future scenarios, fixing the nation's failing infrastructure to reduce health hazards associated with failing infrastructure, especially in areas such as water and sewage. Improve infrastructure maintenance, better transit option to avoid current clogging of the road where lives are lost. To address these challenges, we believe we need to enhance collaboration between the academia, industry, the private sector, and government. We must also invest in continuous professional development programs. It is vital to create a supportive ecosystem for innovation and entrepreneurship in the engineering sector. It is important that we encourage engineers to take risks and pursue entrepreneurial ventures. As I conclude, I wish to emphasize that engineers must not consider themselves as pure technicians with no role in policy making. We must collaborate, and your practical knowledge must inform the policy direction for our country to succeed. The former governor of Colorado once said, former Governor Richard Lamb once said, as I quote, "All we know about the new economic world tells us that nations which trains engineers will prevail over those which trains lawyers. No nation has ever sued its way to the greatness." Close quote. With those words, distinguished guests, we're honored today to have the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, who is also the leader of government business, to address this August Engineering Week and Engineering Conference. The Deputy President is a developmental activist and one of those who have been instrumental in leading the revolution in South Africa. He is working in resolving a number of questions of development, especially when it comes to skills and the capacity of the state in his capacity as the chairperson of Human Resource Development Council. He is, of course, a father, a husband, a seasoned leader of the African National Congress, the liberation movement in South Africa. He has played a various role in a number of spheres of government, including being a premier of Gauteng, and from there being a minister of art and culture in the country. May you please all join me as we welcome the Deputy President to engage us as professionals and different sectors in the built environment. May we invite the Deputy President to address us.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Minister, for the introduction. Let me greet our program director. I would like firstly once again to recognize in our presence the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, His Excellency Sihle Zikalala, Deputy Governor of Ogun State, Nigeria, His Excellency Engineer Noimok Salako, I hope I'm correct. Yes, Her Excellency, my apology. Representatives from the African Union, Ms. Sophia Ashipala, Deputy Chief Secretary in the Office of the President in Zimbabwe, Engineer Amos Murawa, UNESCO Regional Director, Professor Matial Zebazokana, Conference Chair and FAEO Past President, Southern Africa Engineer Martin Manuhwa, EXA President, I have already greeted her, Ms. Refilwe Buthelezi, and all members of EXA here present. President-elect of the World Federation of Engineering Organization, Engineer Mustafa Shenu, President and registrars of engineering organizations who are here with us today, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Goeiemôre. Ndimachero. Abshen. Sanbonan. Lochan. Madam President, here in South Africa, when we want to welcome people and make sure that they are relaxed, we greet them in 11 languages. But because we don't have a lot of time, I won't use all of them. Ladies and gentlemen, engineers here present, it is with great pleasure that I address you this morning on this highly anticipated 9th UNESCO Africa Engineering Week and Africa Engineering Conference, where we join to celebrate and advance engineering excellence in the African region. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Federation of African Engineering Organization Executive Board for allowing the Engineering Council of South Africa to organize this week-long program. We would also like to warmly welcome renowned experts and thought leaders from the public and private sectors who will share sectoral knowledge and experience, as well as groundbreaking research and innovative ideas. Your valuable insights and expertise will drive discussions on shaping more sustainable and brighter future for Africa through engineering excellence. The theme for this year's conference, Celebrating and Growing Engineering Excellence in the African Region, resonates deeply with Agenda 2063, which harnesses the potential that lies within the continent and uses it as a lever for change in the continent and globally. The conference, aligned with its designated theme, aims to convene individuals from engineering field to recognize and comprehend the developing technological advancements and industry patterns in the African continent. It further seeks to celebrate engineering excellence in the African continent, which boasts engineering innovations that are researched, designed, created, and maintained by the same professionals in the continent. Africa's vast land mass and rich natural and mineral resources make it strategically important and an increasingly significant global player. It is also a dynamic and young continent, with around 40% of the population aged 15 years and younger, compared to a global average of about 25% in 2022. Thus, Program Director, as a continent, we must leverage this enormous potential by strengthening our efforts towards attaining the African Union Agenda 2063, which includes elevating Africa through improved education and applying science and technology in development. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow engineers, engineering is a backbone of any society and plays a role in shaping the world. As a scientific practice, engineering drives technological advancements, infrastructure development, and of course, economic progress. Behind every remarkable architectural achievement, whether it's towering structures or intricate technological devices, is a profound expertise and innovative thinking of highly skilled personnel, especially engineers. In the African continent, our engineering capabilities exhibit remarkable breadth and depth. Throughout history, African engineers have left an indelible mark on our continent, from the pyramids of the Great Mosque of Djinné. Today, African engineers play a crucial role in shaping our future. They are at the forefront of groundbreaking projects, addressing pressing challenges in energy, water, transportation, freight and logistics, and also in the communication sector. Over the past 50 years, there has been massive infrastructure development in sub-Saharan Africa, which has had and will have much impact on Africa's economy and the well-being of its people. According to the Africa Infrastructure Development Index, South Africa ranks in the top 5 countries in Africa with the best public infrastructure, alongside Seychelles, Libya, Egypt, and Mauritius. This is a crucial development index because Africa infrastructure development plays a key role in ensuring fast economic growth and alleviating poverty, and of course must be prioritized across the region. We still need to do much on this development index as a continent. We must remember that infrastructure investment has always been a crucial step for development, leading to many nations changing the trajectory of their economies during economic turmoil. Since the 1930s, and particularly after World War II, economists have recognized the need for innovative and sustainable interventions to kickstart economic growth. Developing nations have long argued that investing in infrastructure has a positive economic impact, which remains vital for economic recovery. Considering that our continent is plagued by numerous socio-economic challenges, such as access to water, food, energy, amongst other things, it is therefore necessary that we also emphasize the importance of infrastructure as a way to address some of these challenges. investing in a world-class infrastructure contributes significantly to improving the quality of lives of citizens, as well as the competitiveness and attractiveness of countries, regions, and cities. State-of-the-art infrastructure is the vein and arteries of any modern economy and prosperous society. Equally, sustained investments in public infrastructure can also serve as a stimulus for growth, for employment creation, spatial transformation, social integration, and connecting communities and linking producers and markets. Significant support already exists through the African Development Bank, specifically the recently signed Africa 50 Infrastructure Acceleration Fund. The Development Bank of South Africa and governments across the continent have committed to achieving growth through an infrastructure transformation agenda that creates possibilities for the African Continental Free Trade Agreement to thrive. Thus, as you deliberate over the next few days, ladies and gentlemen, it is prudent to consider how, as leading engineers in the continent, you can contribute to the African Union's shared vision of economic integration and transformation in specific and more compelling ways. Perhaps it may be vital that you think about ways to fast-track developments in the rail network, road infrastructure, to quicken the efforts towards the ease of movements of products from Cape to Cairo. For example, this conference also allows us to collectively explore the avenues of integrating economic activity across the continent. This, of course, requires, amongst other things, acknowledging the strides made in engineering, but also considering more robust and global approach of cultivating excellence in the field. In the vast continent of Africa, engineering education has encountered numerous formidable challenges that have hindered its progress and development. These challenges encompass a wide range of issues, including but not limited to insufficient funding and resources in quantity and quality. Various reports in academia and public discourse have also highlighted the limitations in diversity and inclusion, particularly regarding the inclusion and the retention of women and other marginalized groups. The engineering industry still struggles to retain its female workers and professionals. Although there have been notable changes in the consulting engineers industry to drive more inclusivity and diversity. I'm happy, Minister, to say that in South Africa we are led by women in this sector. But of course, it means we have to do more. We have to do more, and we need to ensure that there's more capacity that is brought to bear to support the engineering sector. Program Director, additionally, the scarcity of adequate facilities has further exacerbated the situation, making it even more difficult for aspiring engineers, especially those among the underrepresented demographic groups, to receive the necessary training and opportunities in the sector. It is therefore essential to bridge the gaps in our education system promote research and development, and foster an environment that enables inclusivity and professional growth for engineers already in the field, allowing not only engineering practitioners, but also academic and training pipeline trainers. One of the key ways to achieve this is through collaboration and knowledge sharing. We must strengthen partnerships between academia, industry, and governments to create platforms for engineers to exchange ideas, learn from one another, and collaborate to ensure innovative solutions. Events like this conference provide networking opportunities, showcasing best practices and discussing strategies to promote engineering excellence in the continent. Furthermore, we must inspire and empower the next generation of engineers by instilling passion for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM, in our youth. Most importantly, we need to change the mindset of Africans by training them to create African solutions for African problems. This way, we may involve establishing specialized engineering training programs tailored to the continent's unique challenges. Making the necessary shift in this regard calls for significant investment in quality education, especially in underserved areas, particularly your rural areas. We can unlock the potential of young, talented Africans by ensuring that they have the necessary skills to contribute to our country's growth. Ladies and gentlemen, we must, as such, foster an environment that supports innovation in several ways, and as I said earlier, mainly in research and development. We are currently unable to fulfill our energy requirements, particularly because of lack of skills in the engineering sector. This reality has adversely affected our economy here in South Africa, and we have ended up with prolonged load shedding, diminishing accessibility to essential social services, including healthcare and education. So as government, we are addressing this issue, amongst others, by increasing maintenance required for existing and aging infrastructure, particularly the infrastructure in the electricity sector and the power stations in particular. We are ensuring high investment and capital that is required for new energy assets, and social and economic implications are being addressed as we move towards just energy transition. Program Director, I want to say in this regard, we do welcome the pledges that South Africa has received for its just energy transition, which now stands at about $11.9 billion. The country is therefore mobilizing additional finance, including grants, to facilitate the shift from fossil fuels to clean energy. This will help reduce the impact of load shedding while keeping our environment clean. We have agreed as a country that it's important that as we move towards the just transition, we continue to maintain some of our power stations to ensure that we don't transition in the dark. But we will get there. We are not resisting. I think what is important for us is to ensure that we must have our own timetable as the continent to move towards the just energy transition. Let our agenda not be set by others. It must be set by us in the continent. So, ladies and gentlemen, as the South African government, we have committed to prioritizing investment in infrastructure. I'm therefore pleased that during the Federation of African Engineering Organization annual conference in Kigali, Rwanda, on the 27th of January 2022, there were notable resolutions taken to closely lobby for partnership with the African Union. We support that. So we strongly support the partnership with the AU and its other organs, but also the African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat and national governments of all 54 African countries are involved, and this program is going to ensure that the Agenda 2063, as set up by the African Continental Free Trade Area and AU, succeeds. The coordination and collaboration with above partners towards the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area and the development of robust frameworks for engineering education and practice are informed by accurate data on engineering capabilities, quality and quantity of human capital that will be critical to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals of 2030. Program Director, one notable benefit for implementing the African Continental Free Trade Area is harmonizing standards and regulations within the engineering profession by the Federation of African Engineering Organization. This initiative aims to facilitate the digitization of the database for engineering practitioners, thereby establishing a dependable and credible source of engineering services data through professional engineering institutions across the African continent. The digitization of the engineering practitioners database will facilitate business transaction within Africa by promoting market access to products and services by all stakeholders and mobility of engineering personnel. Ladies and gentlemen, as we embark on this week-long celebration and conference, let us renew our commitment to engineering excellence in the continent. Let us harness our collective expertise, creativity, and determination to address our continent's unique challenges. Together, we can pave the way for a future where engineering is central to Africa's growth and prosperity. As the government of South Africa, we believe you will emerge from this conference with mechanisms to inform better, direct policy, and collaborate with us to identify more efficient ways to fund projects in your sector. I conclude, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, by saying, let us seize this opportunity to celebrate our achievements, learn from one another, and forge a path towards a brighter future through engineering excellence in the African continent. I thank you very much.
Mine is an easy job. His Excellency, the Deputy President, Honorable Minister Sihle Zikalala, all distinguished ladies and gentlemen, presidents of engineering organizations, I'm here to give a vote of thanks on your behalf. As the CEO of Engineering Council South Africa, Dr. Bridget Samula is my name. EXA does belong to the Federation of African Engineering Organizations, so I'm standing in that capacity as well to give a vote of thanks. We also belong to the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, and the one and only country so far, but Nigeria is following along, the signatory to the International Engineering Alliance. I would like to say thank you very much, Deputy President, for honoring us with your presence, for elevating our event, making sure that what we are discussing directs policy, promotes collaboration, encourages our young engineers and women in being able to grow and enhance the sector. As we engage, collaborate, and network over the next 3-4 days, we look to innovate, we look to grow. Many of the African countries sitting here struggled with load shedding in the 80s and 90s, and they all came up with solutions that will bring us a long way. African Development Bank funded quite a huge regional program in East and Southern Africa. That section now actually generates more power than it needs because of the funding of the African Development Bank. So our brothers and sisters will be able to give us the solutions so that we have a just energy transition that is not completely in the dark. The decisions and declarations that will be made over the next 3-4 days will be shared because in a way they commit not just us, our organizations, but ourselves so that we are able to grow and enhance a lot of what we need to do in the engineering sector for the next few years. You welcomed us in many South African languages, and so on behalf of all of the countries that I've spoken about where we belong, I would like to say thank you. Thank you is the obvious one, right? It's the English version. And from the Swahili speakers, asante sana. From the Bemba in Zambia, Natotela. From the Yoruba in Nigeria, Edupe. From the Twi in Ghana, Medasi. From our Francophone brothers, merci beaucoup. From our Lusophone-speaking brothers, obrigado. From our Arabic brothers, shukran. And finally, from the Nguni-speaking people of South Africa, ngiyabonga kakhulu. So thank you very much, Deputy President. You know people cannot give themselves honor. You have given us the honor today, so we thank you very much. Thank you. So there will be a photo opportunity as the Deputy President and the Minister take their leave, and we would like to invite the AW Chair, the UNESCO Regional Representative, the WFEO President-elect, the FAEO President, Professor Elizabeth Taylor, Deputy Governor, thank you, you made it in time. Will be there, Engineer Amos Marawa, please come through, the leadership of EXA as well, so that we can go and have a photo opportunity just outside of the steps of the event. Thank you to the rest of the team. It is time for your break. We've eaten quite a bit into your time, but just go and enjoy your 15 minutes of your break before we break out into the parallel sessions. This would be the end of the opening session. Thank you very much.
opportunity that Hi, Sissy.
Hi.
Is that for the opportunity for print only or for picture?
We can get you a picture. What do
No,
you
but
need?
we are reading.
Oh, you can go. You need to.
But that was different.
It was not, because it literally is 2 minutes and they're leaving. It's gone. So they're coming back into the briefing now.
Yeah, but we could have set up before.
Okay, so no, literally it's going outside into the stairs and they're leaving. It's a gift giving ceremony.
That doesn't make sense.
Sorry?
But that doesn't make sense because it's not playing on for TV.
Yeah. Okay, so you're talking about the actual photo outside?
Yes, you also need to take videos as well. Of the panels with the president, with the deputy president, and everyone.
Okay. But they're still outside. Is it going to take too long to get there?
Yes, you can't just grab and run.
Yeah,
Because
I know.
this is equipment.
This program is changing up, so I know, yeah.
Who's liaising with the media?
It is the EXA team, it is me, and it is also Lennox. Oh, I'm so sorry.